All right, let's talk about something that's absolutely critical for any business trying to compete right now: data sovereignty. We're going to get into how your most valuable digital assets are likely being scraped without you even knowing it, and more importantly, how to put a stop to it. So let's just start with a very blunt question that every single executive needs to be asking themselves. Is your digital agency, the people you pay to protect and grow your online presence, actually giving away your competitive advantage? As you're about to see, the answer is, terrifyingly, often yes. And this really gets to the heart of it. You see, leaving your digital front door wide open isn't a neutral position. It's an active disclosure. You're basically putting up a giant sign that says, "Free intellectual property inside," and the AI models are lining up to take it. Okay, so let's unpack the core problem. We call it the default configuration trap, and it is a shockingly common pitfall we see again and again, even among so-called premium agencies right here in the UAE. It all boils down to this tiny, innocent-looking line of code: user agent star allow slash. Now, in plain English, what this says to every single automated bot on the planet is, hey, come on in. The door's unlocked. Take a look around. Grab whatever you want. And this is the default setting on way too many enterprise-level platforms. So what are they grabbing? Well, we're not just talking about your latest blog post. This wide-open setting gives them full access to your crown jewels. We're talking proprietary case studies, your internal methodologies, the commercial frameworks you've spent years developing, and all of your structured data. This isn't just data. It's the very essence of your competitive edge, being siphoned off without your permission. And here's the point I really need to hammer home. For a serious enterprise, letting this happen isn't just some small technical slip-up. No, this is a complete and total failure of governance. Now, you might be thinking, is it really that bad? Well, to find out, we ran a field audit of 5 award-winning digital agencies here in the UAE, and what we found were 5 catastrophic patterns of exposure that were repeated over and over. Let's walk through them. All right, first up, pattern number 1. This is the most blatant form of exposure, and it's something we see far too often. We call it the open door AI scraping policy, and it's exactly what it sounds like. We found high-end deployments that were explicitly, and I mean explicitly, allowing AI training bots like GPTbot and ClaudeBot to have free reign. This isn't an accident. It's a voluntary surrender of your IP. There's no consent, there's no compensation, and frankly, it's a massive breach of your agency's duty to you. Okay, on to the second pattern. This one really speaks to a shocking lack of just basic technical discipline, even at the highest levels. We're calling this the syntax and encoding fiasco. The very files that are supposed to control which bots get in and which ones don't, they were a mess, riddled with corrupted characters, simple typos, you name it. And this isn't just a cosmetic issue. It's a huge red flag that signals incredibly low operational rigor. I mean, if the instructions are gibberish, how can they possibly be followed? Our third discovery uncovers a trap that is incredibly common. And, it's dangerous because it makes you think you're safe when you're not. This is the lazy proxy trap. Here's how it works. An agency will install some default off-the-shelf plugin that blocks a few totally meaningless pathways. It looks good on a report, right? But meanwhile, they leave critical attack surfaces, like the REST API, completely exposed. This is basically giving hackers a detailed map of your system for reconnaissance. The perimeter is just assumed to be safe. It's not actually engineered to be safe. The fourth pattern we saw is one that hits you right where it hurts, the bottom line. It directly impacts your budget. Take a look at this. We call it the foreign resource drain. When you leave the gates open, you're not just letting in the bots you want. You're inviting crawlers from markets you don't even operate in. Think Baidu from China, Yandex from Russia. And what we found is that these useless, non-revenue bots can eat up to 40% of your server's resources. That is your capital literally being leaked to foreign infrastructures for zero benefit. And finally, we've got the fifth pattern. And this one is maybe the most insidious because it looks like a solution, but it's anything but. We call this the illusion of order. An agency might block a handful of small, low-impact bots just so they can say they're doing something. But they leave the really dangerous, high-volume data scrapers totally untouched. This isn't a strategy. It's what we call security theater. It's all for show, and it creates a completely false sense of security. So, with all that said, what's the actual real-world cost of this kind of negligence? Well, it really boils down to two things that every single executive gets: financial attrition, you're losing money, and the dilution of your intellectual property.
Let me just walk you through the chain reaction here. First, all those useless bots start hogging your server resources. That makes your website slower for actual users. Then, the one bot you actually want, Googlebot, starts running into delays and timeouts, so it crawls your site less often. And the final domino to fall? Your search ranking quality tanks and your visibility just disappears.
Okay, enough of the problem. That's the bad news. The good news is there's a solution, but it requires a completely new way of thinking, a new engineering manifesto for this AI era. On the left, you see the old way of thinking. This legacy assumption that all bots are kind of the same, and that control is just a polite suggestion. On the right, that's the alien reality, the new rules. Bots must be classified by their intent. The perimeter must be engineered, not just assumed, and control must be enforced, not just advised. Now, we put this manifesto into practice using a specific proprietary methodology that we've developed. We call it the AELION protocol, and its foundation is all about layered enforcement. Our protocol works in 4 layers. First, we build a deterministic architecture to classify bots, not just blindly block them. Second, we preserve your crawl budget for the pages that actually make you money. Third, and this is non-negotiable, we use edge-based enforcement. A simple text file is just a suggestion. Real control happens at the network perimeter, with firewalls and IP filtering. And finally, layer 4, live audits, because defense has to be an active, ongoing process, not a set-it-and-forget-it task. And this brings us to our final and most important point. This level of defense for your IP, it isn't optional. It's not a nice to have. For any serious enterprise platform operating in the GCC, our directive is simple. It is mandatory. So I'll just leave you with this one question to take back to your team, to your next board meeting. Who exactly is guarding your digital perimeter? And are you absolutely certain they haven't just left the door wide open for your competitors to walk right in?